What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Elden Ring walkthrough. Hope y'all are doing well today. How we're going to get things started today is we are going to warp back to Limgrave here. If you remember in one of the earlier episodes, there was a treasure chest I said not to open because it's going to transport you to some place that we're not ready for. What we're going to do is we're actually going to open that chest now, and we're going to go to where it takes us, which is in Caelid. Back then, when you're level 9 or 10 or whatever we were at that point in time, if you go there, you're going to get one shot by everything, just about. But now we're a bit more prepared for that. And the reason why we're doing this is because it is going to give us a Somber Smithing Stone 5. And it's going to be a really quick detour. And so, in my opinion, it is worth it to do this now, especially since we're not going to get one shot by everything here. I mentioned that I got transported here very early on in my playthrough, in my first playthrough. I didn't even have my horse yet. Like, it was really early on, and I was very ill prepared for this area. But nonetheless, I explored it for like 2 hours just because I thought, well, the game took me here, so maybe I'm supposed to be here. But I don't think that's the case. Clearly, you're not meant to be there, and you're supposed to warp out pretty much right away, but or as soon as you can. But what happens is you get transported to this cave. It's a crystal tunnel, and if you go this way, just turn around and run straight for this pathway here. And early in the game, if you get hit by any of those things, if you got hit by that, for example, that's going to one-shot you, like at the very beginning of the game. So it's much better to come here later on. And as I said, we're going to get a Somber Smithing Stone Tier 5, which is going to allow us to upgrade our Bloodhound's Fang one more level. And that's going to really help us for what we have coming up in the next few episodes here. And if those of you who are struggling with the bosses in the last episode, this is actually really going to help you as well. If you need to just get a little bit of a boost to take on what we were facing in the last episode, this will give you that boost. So we just rested here in the Celia Crystal Tunnel. You see, we can't warp because, we're inside the tunnel still. But what we're going to do is I'm going to drop a couple map markers. So we're here in Caelid. The first one is going to be right here-ish, and this is going to take us to a Site of Grace. And then the second one is going to be like right here. You don't need to unlock this Site of Grace. You can just go straight to where we were going anyways, but I just feel like it'll be helpful to get that Site of Grace unlocked. So this swamp is a Scarlet Rot swamp. This entire area is just filled, chock to the brim with Scarlet Rot. Not a fun area to get to be at the very beginning of the game, to be sure. But nonetheless, fortunately with Torrent, with riding Torrent, the Scarlet Rot doesn't build up like it would if you were just riding around or running around on foot. So that's very useful. I, for one, am not a fan of Caelid in general. In fact, it's probably my least favorite region of the game. For no other reason than the fact, there's so much Scarlet Rot all over the place. The place in general, just look at the aesthetic. It's just dead. It kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. And then, like, the music, it sounds like you're constantly being chased by a swarm of bees or something like that. It's just really unnerving. And so it's just, that's definitely the vibe they were going for. But, it's a lot to take in. But anyway, so this ball, you don't have to kill it because right behind here is our Somber 5. I'm going to kill it just because it kind of emits that kind of purple mist that'll hurt you. But Bloodhound's Finesse makes quick work of it. And so just to recap, here's where we started. The Celia Crystal Tunnel. I went down kind of due southwest-ish to get this Inner Aeonia Grace. And then from there, I put my second marker. You see, it's very hard to see, but there's kind of like a little valley right here, like a canyon, I guess you could call it. And this is where we went up to get that Somber 5. So I put my marker like right here, and it took me there. Kind of I'll go back out and show you, kind of an indication that you're right in the right spot is you're going to see these worms all over the place. And then the other indication is when you roll up here, I think it's despawned already because I went right past it, but there's a giant scarab right here. And once you see that scarab, you know that you're heading in the right spot, where you see there's this kind of canyon that you can run through. So that's all we wanted to do here, was get that Somber 5. And that's going to help us coming up for what's ahead. And it'll also, if any of you guys are struggling with any of the stuff that we did in the last couple episodes, it'll help you there as well. Because as we'll see, getting the Somber 5 is a pretty massive boost to damage, which is very useful. Where we're headed now is back to the Bestial Sanctum. In the last episode, we picked up a couple of death roots. So we're going to deliver those to our friend here. And give both of them to him, because there's really no other use for these.
Strange. There's something else. But the death yet quenches. Bring more.
Okay, so for those 2 death roots, we get Ash of War, Beast's War, and we get Bestial Vitality. Okay, so that's all we wanted to do here. Let's see. So now we're going to warp back to Round Table Hold. And we're going to level up our weapon. And level up our Spirit Ashes as well. Because we did get some Glove Wart that's going to allow us to take our Ashes up 1 more level. So we're going to do that. So we have Grave Glove Wart 4. So we're going to take our Wolves up 1 more level. I'm pretty low on runes, so I'm going to have to pop some runes to level up my weapon. Let's see. We got these tier 6s. I'm actually going to use like 4 of these. That should be enough to do what we're going to do. So we're obviously going to take our Bloodhound's Fang up to +5.
Well, I took you no matter it's all out your own.
So there we go. Get this +5. And not in this episode, but probably to start off the next episode, we're going to be at another crystal tunnel type level. Remember, we used our brick hammer for that. So I'm going to take my brick hammer as high as I can get it. So right now it's at +5. We can get it much higher than that. Let's see. Right now my bottleneck is runes. It's not stones. So I'm going to pop some more runes here. I got like 15 of these. I'm gonna pop like 10 of them. See what that gives me. 4,000. We'll see what that does.
Back all no matter.
Because we will be using this soon, so I want it to be as powerful as it can be. Okay, nice. So we got it from +5 to +10. That's pretty significant. And I also want to take up my Uchi Katana as much as it can go. Because, you know, situationally, we're going to be using it here and there. So I can get it to +8 with what I have left. I need another Smithing Stone 3 to get it up another level. So that's pretty solid. And especially since we're going to be using the hammer sooner than we're going to be using the katana. So that'll be useful. So we're going to warp here is to the Eastern Liurnia Lake Shore. I'm going to make sure I got my... Yeah, I don't think I even put a beacon down for that. So let's see. We're going to go here. Oops, I do not want a beacon there. I just want to warp to the Site of Grace. And for those of you who are struggling, in the next episode, I'm actually going to take us to what I would say is the best farming spot in the game. So I've said multiple times that this game does not require farming per se, because you notice we're approaching like level 50-ish. I want to say, what are we? We are level 50, and I have done 0 farming in this playthrough. So if you do the side stuff, you do the side dungeons, kill the side bosses, all that stuff. I mean, the game levels you up. It gets you kind of where you need to be for a given point in time. But at the same time, if you do want to farm, there are some good spots. So I want to be able to show you guys those spots, because I know that some of you guys are going to want to get some extra levels and that sort of thing. And there's no harm in doing that. So I want to be able to, I want this guide to be comprehensive. I want it to be able to show y'all how to farm if you want to farm. And so this guy, I'm going to do a dismounted heavy on him just to start. You don't have to kill him, but I'm going to kill him. I hope I whiffed there. But as I said, we're going to be covering that in the next episode, the farming route. There are a few steps to get there, to that spot. Steps that we have not yet done, but steps that we'll get to in the next episode. So what we're going to do in this episode is actually we're going to go to a... We're going to do something that's actually one of my favorite things about this game. And you'll see what I mean when we get there. Let's see. There should be a smithing stone around here. I think it's one of the ones where it's like a guy sitting in a chair. I'm pretty sure. Could be mistaken. So while I'm riding around here, I'm going to pick up this stuff. So I like the very tip of this. Here we go. Yes, like you have to go back here. That's what it is. There he is. I was like, where was this guy? I know he's out here. And he's got a stone sword key. Yeah, I said smithing stone. It's actually for a stone sword key. Which, by the way, stone sword keys, how many do we have? We've got 7 of them, which is not bad at all. We have more than enough for what we're gonna need in the game at this point. Like we're gonna keep getting them as we go. So what I'm saying is that if we're gonna use them when we need to use them, and we're as long as we keep getting them when they're available, we're not gonna run out, even if we use them every time we need to use them. So here we are. We're at this river well. And there's a long elevator down. And this, when I first got here in my first playthrough, like this blew my mind. I couldn't believe what was going on. It was pretty insane. And as I said before, this game, you play it and you think you've kind of seen most of what the game has to offer, but then something else happens and it's just like, you can't, it's hard to fathom how they put everything into this game. Actually, I just unlocked that grace. I need more arrows. So you'll see that the map is dark. If you want to go back to the normal map, you just hit the R3 button and it'll toggle between the two. We're in like an underground zone. And there's like an entire world that's underground. And as if this world wasn't big enough, there's an entire other world that's underground. It's pretty nuts. But before we do this, I'm going to pick up some arrows because I'm going to be using arrows in this place, and I don't want to be in a pinch where I need some arrows and I don't have them to use. So I'm basically going to use every single rune that I have right now, and I'm going to buy just a bunch of arrows. Okay, so now we're going to warp back to here, the Ainsel River well depths. And so, yeah, as I was saying, when I first did this, I mean, this is not a small area to explore. And it's just very, very well done, in my opinion. So you see we have these ants. This is a new enemy type down here. You can shoot them one by one and fight them one-on-one, which is probably what I'd recommend. Or you could, you know, go all out and fight them all at the same time. They do have that kind of venom attack. They're not as difficult as you think. Admittedly, their bark is worse than their bite. You see, I'm almost one-shotting them with a jump attack, especially with the +5. We're doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm two-shotting him with my R1. That's not bad at all. So we're going to head this direction first. And there is a boss at the end of this spot, which is the primary reason why I wanted to get the +5 when I did, which is because it'll there's an ant hanging up there. It'll help immensely. You cannot climb up that waterfall, by the way, but it'll help immensely to get that boss, or to level up your weapon before fighting this boss. So That is why I wanted to start off the episode with that. And we're by no means under leveled for this spot. In fact, based on the loot that we get in here, I'd argue that we may even be a little bit over leveled for this place. So we're definitely strong enough. That ain't a question. So back here is a dead end. We get a smithing stone 3. But these ants like to ambush you. Like, you go to a corner to pick up loot, and then you turn around and there's ants. Okay, here we have a branch in the path, and again, yeah, as I said, sometimes you run and you go somewhere and they'll pop up behind you. So here we have a branch in the path. We're gonna go left first. Pick up some loot, and like, look at this is just gross. Like, look at that. That's just a pile of corpses. That's oof. A lot of people have come down here and have never gotten out, so. Okay, so down this way, we're going to come across the queen ant. So, see that huge giant bubble on the back? Just hit it with an arrow and it dies in one hit. But what that does is now all these ants that are on the ceiling are going to come after us because they mad. But for that, we get a golden rune tier 10 and a rune arc, which is pretty insane. So I'm going to lure these over because fighting them all at the same time, not exactly advisable. I mean, they don't hit too hard, but they also, you know, if you get caught with 2 or 3 of them, you could be in trouble. You see, yeah, there's a bunch of them. Alternatively, you could run in and aggro all of them and then run back and then kind of bottleneck them through this cave. The ones that are left, I think I can just kind of muscle my way through them. Famous last words. I've said it before and I've said it again. This weapon is really good for crowd control. Because it has the, you do the combo and it has these wide sweeps. And honestly, I mean, I think this is one of the best weapons in the game, especially for how early you can get it. Even compared to some of the later weapons that you get that are, you know, a little bit fancier. This bang for your buck, this is one of the best weapons in the game. Easy. I mean, this, as I've said, this game carried me pretty much the whole, or this weapon carried me pretty much through the whole game. And start to finish, you can use this weapon. It is viable for the whole game. So up here we get a smithing stone 4. And then you drop down. Get a celestial dew. Now, if you remember when we went to the Church of Vows in the last episode, celestial dew is what allows you to absolve your sins, or atone for your sins, whatever the game calls it. So you need one of those to do that. And what basically what that means is it's a fancy way for the game saying, like, if you've aggroed an NPC, made them hostile towards you, then you can make them friendly towards you again. Down here, I mean, as I said, the loot in this spot would be indicative of that it's meant for relatively early in the game. We're still getting like tier 2 level runes and smithing stones. Tier 1 level smithing stones. And then like the glove wart down here is like tier 1. These guys I mainly just ignore. There's so many of them in here, and if you get surrounded by them, then you're likely going to be dead. It's not worth fighting all of them, in my opinion, and they don't yield very many runes. Really not worth fighting him. So I mentioned before that the path splits. If you had taken the other side of the split, you would wind up here. But I do want to take us up this elevator here to kind of get to the point to where the paths meet. There are a couple items up here. There's a site of grace as well. But the only way to get those items that we got up there is to take the way that we took past the queen ant. So this elevator, not quite as long as the one that we took to get down here in the first place, but so in here we've got our grace. And so yeah, you get a good view of where we were just at. Like the lighting down here is really cool. Just the overall look and feel of the place. So you go in here. There's a few things scattered about. And then this is what takes you back to where the path split. There you go. There's the big pile of bodies. So we can actually just warp right here to this grace. We don't have to walk back over there. Okay. And then we're going to take that elevator back down to where we were. As I said, these guys, I just run past them. I mean, you'll see why. They all roll up to you. And I don't even get a chance to kill the one I was fighting before the next one starts hitting me. And you see the runes? The runes are not great. So where you want to actually go is you don't want to head down there just yet. I want to take this path to the side, kind of along this river. And then we wind up here. So that guy hanging from the ceiling is going to throw a bunch of rocks at us. And you can kind of hide behind, you know, a barrier to stay safe. You can shoot him down with arrows in between his barrages of rocks. So you can use, whoops, I'm not holding my bow and arrow, sadly. I was going to do a mighty shot on him. Oh, that hit my rock, dang it. Yeah, here we're too far away to hit him. But we can get a little bit closer. You see those rocks? I mean, they're not devastating, but they also don't feel too good either. What we can do is we can kind of hang out here, and then you can shoot him to your heart's content. Is he? We might have to manually aim. So you see arrows. Oh, we're still not close enough to hit him. Okay, we're gonna go up here. So now we can at least lock on, or we can at least hit him without being too far out of range. And of course, he'll still throw the rocks at you, but Up here, you're much safer from the rocks than you would be. So you could do this with arrows, or you could fight him up close, which I actually prefer to fight him up close. It's not as dangerous as you think it would be. He'll try to attack you. Just kind of roll around. You'll dodge his things, and then he'll lower his head so you can actually hit his head. And you see we're doing tons of damage with this, and he dies in like 2 hits. So up to you how you want to go about it. And that takes him out. You don't want him to be around when you are running around down there, because you're constantly going to be dodging his magic attack. So when you're up here on the top, to get back down, you need to kind of drop off to the side. If you drop off the front, I believe that's too far of a drop. You'll die. Pick up the map. So here we go. This is a map of where we're at. So we started right here, and we kind of went all the way down here, and here we wound up right here. So you see, this is actually a fairly sizable chunk, and it corresponds to, you know, the main map as well, which is very cool, very clever. I was kind of blown away by this whole concept when I first saw it. So there's a bunch of loot around here. Most of it is, you know, it's lower level stuff. Not much that gets me all that excited, but it's there, so we'll pick it up. More of these guys. So yeah, tier 3 golden runes, some magic grease, throwing daggers, fur calling finger remedy. So just to show you, if you had went the other way, you know, I told you to go around to the side. If you went the other way, you'd be going through here, and then you wind up right here with that guy hanging down, and he'd be shooting his rocks at you right away. So that's why I told you to go the other way. So we're actually going to circle around again, because there's a piece of loot that we missed, because we were preoccupied with taking care of that thing that was trying to shoot us. So now that he's gone, we can focus on getting our stuff. And also, I just love the atmosphere down here. The music is kind of like, it's kind of a little bit creepy, but mysterious sounding. I like it a lot. Let's see. There's a thing here. Just a smithing stone. 3 missing smithing stone ones. And there's a grave wart, I think it's called. Yep. Tier 1. And by the way, you cannot summon your horse in here. Then going back up here, you turn behind you. There's a shiny right here. Smithing stone 3. So I'm going to jump back down. And then drop down right here. And you can fight those guys if you want. I just don't think it's worth the time, honestly. Oh, I thought those were crafting materials. It was just the dudes holding their little swords up in the air, or spears up in the air. As I said, nothing to really get all that excited about. I think there's one more over here. One more item. I think again, because the tips of their spears kind of glow. Sometimes I think I mistake those. Oh yeah, there's one up there. I mistake those for items. Okay, so where we're at now. Well, I can't pull up my map because I've got enemies that are attracted to me right now. Here we go. So this was the spot where we found the map. So you want to come to this side and follow this kind of pathway off to the side here. And you'll find this site of grace. You can drop down for some more stuff. I don't think there's anything behind us, yeah. Bunch of ants in here. You can bow them if you want, or sneak attack. Jump attacks, kill them in one hit. And you can see these ones, for whatever reason, are kind of preoccupied. They're not really all that interested in me, which I'll take it. Here's a bunch of loot over here. Smithing stones. Immunizing horn charm. So this is actually a talisman that will enhance your immunity, which your immunity is the stat that governs your resistance to poison and scarlet rot, I believe. So we can travel down this path. Beware, the most annoying enemy in all of Dark Souls is about to be introduced. And these guys are in Dark Souls. And they're also in this game. These are Basilisks. Basilisks are infamous because in Dark Souls 1 they caused Curse, which was the insta-kill status effect in Dark Souls. In this game, this gas that they spew causes the Death Blight effect, which is the insta-kill status effect in this game. So these guys will insta-kill you. If you see that status effect that's building up, if that gets all the way up, it is instant death no matter who you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you have 1,000,000 HP. If that meter gets all the way up, you're dead immediately. And it is very frustrating, especially when these things are in large numbers. Basilisks, ugh. All right, so we got soap. I think this is the first time we've gotten soap, maybe. What soap does is, I mentioned before, if you're in a poisonous area, poison swamp area, and you roll around, the poison is actually going to be like all over your body because you rolled in it. So what the soap does is, if you have poison in on your body, which means that even if you're not in the poison anymore, your poison buildup is going to keep accruing. What the soap does is it gets it off of you, so that way your poison will stop accruing, even if it's on your body. So I got a bunch of those Aeonian butterflies, and we got a Somber Smithing Stone 3. And ladies and gentlemen, what we're looking at now is the bane of our existence, probably 25 episodes from now, maybe 30 episodes from now. We're going to have some fun down there. And by fun, I mean it's going to be pretty miserable. But there it is. You can have a peek at what the future holds. Let's see. So got all the basilisks. As I said, be exceedingly cautious around the basilisks. Or, if you don't like what you saw down there, all you got to do is just skip that path because that's not the progression. You don't have to go down there. But there will be spots later on in the game where inevitably we're going to come across basilisks, and there's no other way about it. So, all right. So this is our progression route here. We're basically just following the main tunnel at this point. So right here, you can take a left for this item, melted mushroom, used for crafting. Then right here, we have another glovewort flower. And we are almost at the boss. Which again, having the Somber 5 on our weapon to make our weapon +5 is going to help us out pretty considerably. This boss fight isn't too hard, but you know, any boost is good for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop my physic flask. And there he is. The Dragonskin Soldier of Knoxdella. So you can summon here. I don't want to summon yet because I want to show off his moves. So he has these moves with his kind of hands that aren't that hard to dodge. You can get behind him and be kind of, I should say, instead of getting behind him, get underneath him, where you'll be kind of out of his range, which is good. So kind of stay right around this, you know, near his legs. So he's transforming now. He's going to be able to do frost buildup. His moveset is largely the same. He's got some new attacks. This is a giant AoE that he's got. You see how far back that reached. He's doing it again. Wow. So I just got frostbitten because he did that twice in a row. I'm going to go ahead and pop off my summon. You see he cleared quite a bit of distance with that. I'm gonna get my summon going here, just for safety. And he almost wiped him out. One hit. As I said, stay kind of underneath him like this, and you'll be largely out of range of his attacks. And so I just kind of spammed him to get the kill. And so, yes, this Dragonskin Soldier of Knoxdella is a boss that is required for a trophy. So for those of you going for all of your achievements or trophies, you got to kill this boss. You get the Frozen Lightning Spear as a reward. So again, I was trying to show off his moves and I kept on getting hit. But as I said, if you stay like right close, basically to his crotch, that keeps you out of range of most of his attacks. And if you can stick there and kind of do jump attacks, things like that, do your Bloodhound's Finesse. I didn't even use my Bloodhound's Finesse in that fight, but those types of things, and you'll do just fine. Can we level up? We sure can. So as I said, I'm going to be focusing at this point on getting HP up, because this extra boost of HP is going to help us enormously. The first soft cap for Vigor is at level 40. So you see, I mean, we're getting a pretty sizable increase in our HP just from one level. And that's going to help us, especially when we get to like kind of in the next sections of the map after Liurnia. It's going to help out pretty enormously, actually. So from this point, the bulk of my levels are going to go into HP. Maybe not every single level, but the bulk of them are going to go into HP. So don't miss this. And here there's a treasure chest. And we get a Great Ghost Glovewort, which is basically the item that you need to take your summon to +10. But you can't just take it to +10 if it's not already at +9. It has to be at +9 first before you can even use this. But we have it for when we need it. So, and before we warp out, I mean, just to take a second to take this in. I mean, what we're looking at here is pretty amazing, in my opinion. I mean, you look up, we're underground. We're like probably thousands of feet underground. You look up, there's this giant structure. Who knows what the heck that is? And you have this waterfall. This is all underground. You look up and there's like stars in the sky. I mean, when I first saw this, I was just like, holy crap. Like, for one, who thought of this? Like, who? And for two, I couldn't help but think about like what the lore of this place is. Because knowing Miyazaki, knowing Dark Souls, knowing all this stuff, there is probably some pretty crazy lore about this place and why it exists. And I don't know any of it yet, but I'm sure there's some crazy backstory to this place and all of this underground stuff that exists. I mean, it's basically an entire separate world that's, you know, thousands of feet under the ground. Pretty sick. But I definitely geek out about this kind of stuff. Like just looking at this, it's just like, wow, it's just so mesmerizing and very well executed. So anyway, it's just wow. It's like I can get kind of like hypnotized by this kind of crap. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get out of here. We are going to warp back to Gate Town North, and we're going to take care of some stuff in Liurnia. As I mentioned, we're gonna do some stuff in Liurnia. Oh, let's see, late night. I'm gonna pass the time here. Do some stuff in Liurnia to close this episode out, and then next episode I'm going to do the quest line that's going to take us to the really good farming location. I'm not gonna farm as part of this playthrough, but it's just in case you want it for your own purposes. You'll have it. I want you to have access to it. So we're going to do that in the next episode. And then in the next episode, we are going to finally, it feels like, take on the Academy of Rhea Lucaria, which is right here. And I'm really looking forward to that. That's actually one of my favorite areas of the game. It's just it's a very cool aesthetic, and it's a cool level. I enjoy it. Stormvale Castle is really cool too. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say I like Rhea Lucaria Academy. Just a hair better than Stormvale. So we're gonna go here first. There's an Ash of War and a Site of Grace that's like right underneath this bridge, and then our next spot's gonna be right here. And we're gonna take out a couple of things around here that we haven't done yet, as we get closer and closer to finally getting to the Academy. So anyways, one of the things that I'm trying to convey in this walkthrough, I mean, a lot of it is, yeah, going from point A to point B, doing all the things, but I'm also trying to convey just the sense of awe and wonder that this game evokes, the world, just how beautifully crafted everything is. You know, I said at the beginning that this game is a masterpiece, and I mean that pretty much in every sense of the word. So this scarab, by the way, you have to... I think this one teleports if you get too close to it, so I shoot it from far away. It may not it may not be one of the teleporting ones, but in any case, you can shoot it from far away, so that's what I do. Yeah, one of the things I want to do is to convey just the grandness of this world, and not only that, but also just my appreciation for this game that I have is pretty immense. And you know, I just want to not just, you know, play the game, just getting you guys from here to there, but also just enjoying the art. This game is art, you know, and it is meant to be enjoyed. And you know, I want to capture that as well. So all the way over here, target practice. You can shoot these balloons, and each one of them will give you a golden rune 6. So free runes, hey, whoever argued with free runes? Okay, got all those. I'm going to ignore these soldiers that dropped as a result of doing that. So over here we got our Site of Grace. And this is another one of those puzzle towers. You know, you get up to the front and it has like a, oh, you have to do this and then the seal will break or whatever it says. It's another one of those. And at the top, as with most of the other ones, you get a memory stone. So for those of you who are casters, you get an extra spell slot. So seek the 3 wise beasts, it says. So we shall. As with the other one, it is turtles. The 3 wise beasts happen to be turtles. So you see here, facing back towards the shore, I turned right. And kind of following along the edge here, you see our first turtle. And I just run away from these guys. I don't worry about fighting them. The second one is actually going to be up in a tree. So these ones are a bit more well hidden than they were in the first one that we did. There's the second one right up there in that tree. So you got to shoot it down with some sort of range attack. It can be a arrow, it can be a spell, it can be a throwing knife, whatever you have to chuck at it. We'll kill it in one hit. And the third one's going to be off of a cliff somewhere. I think it's just a bit further down. But you look at you stare at the bottom and it'll be like right there staring at you. There it is. So right here is the third one. So we have solved the riddle. And it's probably faster just to warp. Honestly. All right, and right in front of us is where we're headed. So now that we've solved the riddle, we can get in here. Climb up to the top. I don't think there's anything back behind here, but I'm going to double check. Yeah, here we go. Up the ladder. And in here, we have our memory stone. Now, as with climbing up, getting back down is probably quicker just to warp. Okay, so where we're headed next is around this spot is another cemetery that's going to have a bunch of runes for us. In here, I think there's some smithing stones and a site of grace. And then our next kind of dungeon to get through is like right around here. I love this place when it's not raining. Like, oh, the scenery is just gorgeous. And there's the Rhea Lucaria Academy. We're heading there in due time. So this one has, you know, those demi-humans that kind of spawn from the ground. Fortunately, there's not a big one. The big annoying ones. There's just a bunch of the little ones. You can fairly easily just run around them and collect your runes as you go. And getting hit by these things individually don't do a whole lot of damage, but you see enough of them hit me at once that I got knocked off my horse, but not really too big of a problem. Gotta get the runes, man. All right. Cool, enough of that. So down here, there's a few more enemies, but nothing really. More of kind of these, you know, whatever they're called, but they're not tough to get rid of. So here we got our smithing stones. I believe there's also a site of grace down here. There it is. Don't need to rest. Just gonna head on out. So here we see these blue scarabs. That's the entrance to your cave. This is actually a stone sword key entrance. And this one actually requires 2 keys to open. But as I showed you earlier, I think we had like 7 in our inventory. We have plenty of keys. Don't need to worry about it really, because we're gonna keep getting keys as we go, and we'll have enough of a stock pretty much to open up anything that we come across from this point forward. Okay. So this is the Academy Crystal Caves. This is where we're going to start our next episode. We're going to wrap things up here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed so far. Thank you guys so much for entrusting me with your playthrough of this game. Having a blast making this walkthrough. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. So thank you guys for sticking around with me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.